Live from WTVO Rockford and your home team. Eyewitness News at 5 starts now.
A group of local divers in Maui when wildfires broke out escapes just in time. They recalled the terrifying experience they'll never forget.
State Line City celebrates some new life-saving equipment. After a couple of months training, firefighters are ready to roll.
And a national food chain partners with a local not-for-profit. They'll welcome food favorite Feeding Those in Need. Good evening, I'm Mimi Murphy.
And I'm Eric Wilson. Former local teachers arrested after being accused of inappropriate contact with a student.
Back in June, Rockford police were contacted to investigate a report of a teacher at Auburn High School having inappropriate contact with a student. That teacher was identified as Marshall Pratt. He has since resigned. After an investigation by the Sensitive Crimes Unit, Pratt was charged with grooming. He's currently being held in the Winnebago County Jail. Temperatures are expected to rise over the next couple of days.
Let's head back over to Jordan for a look at second summer. That's what you called it yesterday, right, Jordan?
Yeah, that's exactly what I called it, Eric. Some of these social media posts sometimes will kind of lay out the seasons, and there's false fall, and that's kind of what we've been seeing for the last week or so, and then there's second summer, and that's what we are going to be seeing next week. This big ridge of high pressure going to work its way into the area. That's what's going to bring us a significantly warmer temperatures once we get into the weekend and even going into the middle part of next week. That ridge holding steady throughout much of the week ahead before eventually breaking down next week. A look at some of our forecast high temperatures getting into the 90s as early as Sunday. A little bit of a brief cool down on Monday. That's with a backdoor cold front that comes in off of Lake Michigan, but then that heat builds right back in as we get into the middle part of the week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday looking like our hottest stretch of days. Temperatures could reach well into the 90s and possibly even into the mid-90s during that time. It does look like at least a few of these days, if not most of them, will have heat index values that could be well into the triple digits at some times. There are heat alerts that have already been put out by some areas, especially to our south and our southwest across the plains. Carroll and Whiteside County already having been issued a excessive heat watch that goes into effect as early as Sunday. I'll let you know how quickly this heat works its way back in and how long it's expected to stick around coming up in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, Jordan.
Search and rescue efforts continue across the island of Maui.
More than 100 people have been confirmed to have died from the wildfires, as hundreds are still unaccounted for. Hotels and rentals on the island of Maui are filling up with people. Authorities are hoping to clear out crowded shelters by early next week. As of yesterday, officials say more than half the burn zone in Lahaina has been searched. A group of local scuba divers is home safely after being in Hawaii when the wildfires started.
Nikel Delgado talked with them about what they saw and how they got out. Nikel.
That's right, Eric and Mimi. What started off as a celebratory trip turned into a nightmare these scuba divers will never forget.
The fire that was just ablaze and the furnace that had ensued, and then realizing that we were in trouble. Nobody knew what to do.
13 people with Asmus Scuba figured Hawaii would be the best spot to celebrate staff members receiving their scuba instructors with the Lahaina divers. But then wildfires broke out on the island of Maui. Brian Kinley remembers just seeing fire everywhere.
The island is just roughly slightly larger than the size of Winnebago County. It's not that big of an island, only holds 167,000 people, and there's not a lot of infrastructure. It's a volcanic island with scrub brush.
With cell phones out, dive master Mike Fay says they knew they needed to get off the island.
We just knew that we needed to move, and we grabbed up what we could, and the rest of it can be replaced. So we just got in the vehicles and took off.
Saddened by looking at pictures of what the island was before and what's left.
Maui and Lahaina in general was such a quaint, good town with good people in there. I don't think anybody understands exactly the devastation. There's nothing left of that town. It's gone.
We've had tornadoes here where it's wiped out a lot of areas and stuff, and it only takes a blink of an eye for some disaster to happen.
Both Mike and Brian are still processing it all, telling me they have friends there now, trying to figure out their next steps.
We lost more than thousands of dollars worth of stuff, which is minor compared to, like I said. So we have been trying to actually push to try to help those in Lahaina more than anything else, because they literally lost not just their possessions, but their livelihood, and in many cases, unfortunately, their lives. But for those who are still remaining, they don't even have a way to recoup like we do.
There is a GoFundMe page to help the Lahaina divers. You can find that on our website, mystateline.com. Mimi?
All right, thanks, Nikel. Governor Pritzker signs legislation to address food deserts across the state. The new bill establishes the Illinois Grocery Initiative, which is set to invest $20 million in grocers. It will encourage new grocery stores to open while also supporting existing grocers. It also allows for grocery stores receiving grants to be designated as high-impact businesses, giving them the opportunity to receive tax credits and other incentives. This is on top of a study being performed which will inform the state in which regions need more resources.
A local fire department gets a new engine added to its fleet. Belvidere Fire held a ceremony this morning officially putting the truck into service. The vehicle will be at Station 1 on State Street. The engine can carry around 750 gallons of water. Its pump can deliver up to 1,500 gallons of water per minute. Belvidere bought the engine for nearly $700,000. About a third came from American Rescue Plan money. Fire crews spent the last 60 days training on the new vehicle.
A local barber college holds a ceremony for its grand opening. The First Barber College has started its journey to fulfill students' dreams. The school is located at Broadway and 9th Street. Students will learn a wide range of skills from hair cutting to shaving or beard grooming and product knowledge. The curriculum is also multicultural, so students can serve a wide range of customers. First Cut's owner says the college is about giving people a second chance.
Well, I think the purpose of having this school is, of course, to teach people how to cut hair and give them an education, but also they can kind of see where it can lead you, which is what I did. I started on 7th Street. I came over here. They can see me do it. They can do it too.
First Barber College offers the minimum required 1,500-hour barber program for the state of Illinois.
A national pizza chain serves lunch for a Rockford nonprofit. Little Caesars Love Kitchen made fresh, hot pizzas for the Rockford Rescue Mission. The traveling kitchens served nearly 4 million people around the U.S. and has made several appearances at the Rescue Mission. Local Little Caesars franchise owners and employees volunteer their time, food, and labor to support those in need. Rescue Mission administrators say the donation also helps mission staff.
Out for the folks that volunteer, and then our cooking staff who cook the meals and prep all the meals, and the volunteers who help with that. So they kind of get the lunch off so they can relax for one meal.
Rockford Rescue Mission's vision is to address the root cause of homelessness and bring sustainable change to people's lives. The mission serves hundreds of free meals every day to people in need.
A community block party is held by a local nonprofit organization. The Y at the Lutheran Church of Good Shepherd had a free party for the community. A variety of activities were planned for the occasion, including a dance performance by youth in the YMCA programs. The organization was looking to spread community awareness for its programs. The Y says they have plenty of opportunities year-round for kids in the area.
Aside from our summer camp program, we also have an after-school program. And so we plan on starting after Labor Day on September 5th. Monday through Friday, we serve K through 12th grade, and it's for free.
If you're interested in registering for the after-school program, you can visit the Rock River Y's website or any of their membership locations. A first-of-its-kind meeting between two Pacific nations and President Biden.
Coming up, the allies discuss working together in the shadow of concerns about two other countries in the region.
Our temperatures only warmed into the mid-70s so far today. We are going to be a lot warmer once we get into the back half of the weekend, though. We're talking about temperatures getting into the 90s next week. I'll let you know just how quickly we get there, how long it sticks around, and if we see any rain chances coming in our future, coming up in just a few minutes.
You're watching Eyewitness News, your home team with Eric Wilson, Mimi Murphy, Scott Leber, and meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
President Biden hosts the first ever trilateral summit with Japan and South Korea at Camp David.
Biden welcomed the Japanese Prime Minister and South Korean President at the presidential retreat in Maryland. Senior White House officials say they'll discuss deepening defense, technology, and economic cooperation between the nations. President Biden spoke briefly ahead of the closed-door meeting.
Our countries are stronger and the world will be safer as we stand together. And I know this is a belief we all three share. And I want to thank you both for your political courage that brought you here. And I'm looking forward to us having a great meeting, but continuing these meetings. You stepped up to do the hard work, I would argue historic work, to forge a foundation from which we can face the future together, the three of us together.
Today's meeting comes as concerns heighten over North Korean missile tests and China's aggression in the Indo-Pacific region. The three leaders agreed to expand security and economic ties and establish a communications hotline to quickly discuss threats in the region. It looks like today could be one of the last days to experience those nicer temperatures.
Coming up, Jordan will detail the 90-degree weather we'll see by the end of the weekend and beyond.
Now, your first warned weather forecast from meteorologist Jordan Wolf.
It was another fairly cool and comfortable day across the state line today. Temperatures made their way into the mid-70s for many of us. A couple spots made their way into the upper 70s, including 79 in Savannah, 77 in Sterling, 75 in Galena, 75 also in Rockford. Dew points at the moment remaining a little bit more on the comfortable side, down in the 50s and right up around the 60-degree mark for many of us. Still holding on to fairly clear skies, free of clouds and precipitation for the moment, other than a few upper-level clouds trying to pass through at the moment. However, we are still seeing those very hazy skies out there, and when we look at that, we see our SkyTrack camera overlooking Freeport and the Park Hills Golf Course, brought to us by the Rockford Career College. Lots of hazy sunshine out there across the area. It looks almost like overcast skies because of how much wildfire smoke there is in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Not a whole lot down near the surface, so it's not necessarily limiting air quality a huge amount, but there is still some fairly decent drops in the air quality. Air quality index values between 50 and 100 in that moderate category for many of us here across the state line. Things will continue to improve as that wildfire smoke works its way out of the area, at least over the next little while. The thickest of that smoke entering as we get into the later part of the evening tonight, and then eventually clearing once we get into the early part of tomorrow morning. We could see the return of some of that once we get into the weekend, but a little bit more uncertain as to exactly how some of that flow upper levels of the atmosphere will go, and depending on how that smoke may travel into the area. Overnight tonight, temperatures falling back down to 58 degrees, not quite as cool as where we were last night. Still fairly cool and comfortable though for this time of year. Clear skies continue. A little bit of clouds that will be working their way in for the afternoon tomorrow. Upper 80s possible for at least a few of us, mainly out to the west. 86 degrees, at least the forecast in Rockford for tomorrow. Partly cloudy skies, as I mentioned. Fairly breezy as well, helping to bring a lot more of that warmer air into the area. This all because of a ridge of high pressure that's going to be developing, and it's going to stick with us through much of the week ahead, helping to bring some significantly warmer temperatures to the area as well. We're talking about temperatures that could be reaching well into the 90s for at least a stretch of days into the early part of next week. Getting into the 90s as early as Sunday, and then a brief cool down, not a whole lot for Monday, but at least a brief cool down of dew points as well. And then those mid-90s possible as we get into the middle part of the week. Our forecasts at the moment do have 93, 94, and 93 once again as we get Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. So we are talking about temperatures that will be warm enough to at least issue some heat alerts, and there are already a few that have been issued, mainly across the plains. Right now we do have one in our state line area for Carroll and Whiteside County that is an excessive heat watch that goes into effect as early as Sunday and could be extended depending on what those temperatures and dew points end up trending as we get into the middle of the week. Also, not looking at a whole lot of rain chances once we get into this week. This is called a ridge that will not really bring us any rain chances though. So we're not going to see any major rain chances. Any very small ones that we do get, not going to be very widespread. Mid-80s on Saturday, 90s as we get into Sunday, still near that 90-degree mark on Monday, though a very, very brief cool down. And then we're talking about temperatures that could be even into the mid-90s for the middle of the week.
Certainly a steamy few days. Jordan, thanks.
Scott's in next with sports. The Cubs had a golden opportunity for a win today, but they couldn't take advantage of it.
Now sports with sports director Scott Leber.
Cubs need to make some hay this weekend against a lowly Kansas City Royals team. They did not put any hay in the barn this afternoon. They opened their series with the Royals at Wrigley. Fourth inning, Jeimer Candelario ripping one just out of the reach of Bobby Witt Jr. That drove in a run. The Cubs trailed 2-1. Still in the fourth, Nico Hormer drives the ball past Witt again, and that brought in another run. The Cubs had the lead 3-2. Jamison Tyone could not hold that lead. In the sixth inning, Witt gets back at the Cubs and Tyone by smoking out his 24th home run. That put the Royals back in charge 4-3. Bottom of the ninth, the Wrigley crowd was amped with Cody Bellinger at the dish, but Carlos Hernandez struck him out on a check swing, and the Cubs lost this one 4-3. Now, the White Sox are at Coors Field to face the Rockies tonight. Michael Kopech will pitch. Well, let's see. Aaron Rodgers' offensive line with the Jets isn't performing so well this preseason. Rodgers is tight with Packers tackle David Bakhtiari. The Jets would no doubt love to add him. So, would Brian Gutekunst go for a Bakhtiari trade?
Yeah, first of all, we're not going to trade David, so let's just get that out of the way because I know there's been a little bit of chatter about that, and that's not going to happen. No, I think Dave's a pro's pro. What he went through was tough. It was tough on our football team. It was tough on him, and I think he's really in a good place now, really understanding what he needs to do to get ready to play.
The Packers will play the Patriots tomorrow evening in preseason game number 2. We're going to bring you that game on Rockford's My Network TV and starts at 7 p.m. The shakeup of the U.S. women's national soccer team continues. Yesterday, manager Vlatko Adanovsky resigned, and now general manager Kate Markgraf says she's going to step down at the end of the month when her contract runs out. Markgraf hired Adanovsky. She also helped shape the roster for the national team, which had its earliest exit ever at the World Cup. We're going to keep on keeping on with our high school football two-a-days this evening. At 6 o'clock, we'll drop in on Rockford Christian. At 9 and 10, we'll head to Freeport for the Pretzels. Tonight also marks the return of our weekly high school football show, Overtime. Reagan Holgate and I will run down the Big Northern and NUIC teams, and Tim Bailey will join us as we break down what to expect in the Nick 10. That's tonight, live at 11 p.m. on Fox 39. That's sports. We'll be right back.
First One interactive radar from Rockford Auto Glass and More shows off the clear skies that we have at the moment, other than a little bit of haze that's been out there for the afternoon. That'll last a little bit longer here into the evening. Temperatures falling back down into the 50s overnight tonight. The comfortable weather that we have been under for the last week or so is not what we are going to be seeing here into the week ahead. Temperatures already rising back into the mid-80s by the time we get into Saturday, low 90s for Sunday. Heat index values could be as early as up to around triple digits as early as Sunday. A little bit of a brief cool down for Monday, and then highs in the mid-90s possible as we get to the middle of the week.
Thanks, Jordan.
And thank you for watching. Stay safe.